Okay, good evening. My name is Diego Peña Herrera, and I'm starting this webinar with this topic, which is called introducing yourself. Uh, what do we understand by calling this introducing yourself? It has so many different answers, right? Sometimes we have we don't know exactly what we refer to. Sometimes it refers to a name. What other things do you think we can increase here? We can include uh, about this. I don't know. Who do you have any ideas about this? What do we mean by introducing yourselves? For example, what is this situation? What do you see here? This is this a formal situation, an informal situation? What do you think this is? So this is what we call a social gathering. Gathering is when we refer to uh, people interacting in an informal way. Not formal. It's not for work. It's not for studies. This is for friends, for interacting with new people, for meeting new people and stuff. Okay, that is the idea. When we talk about social gathering, it's an informal reunion, let's say, and so to make it more familiar for you. Okay, so this is the idea. So let's see. When we refer to this thing here, when we refer to social gathering, we have some information that you can share. For example, we can say, when we want to introduce ourselves, we say hi, we can say hello, or we can say simply hey. Okay, this is the idea we can use here. And if we want to talk about ourselves, say I'm Diego. In my case, I'm Diego, I am Diego, or my name is Diego. Or if I want to contract, I say my name's Diego. Okay, in case somebody gets in, this is some of the things that we can. Mhm. For example, as we were saying here, uh, in an informal situation, we can say hi, hello, or hey to introduce ourselves. In this cases, I am or am, if you want to make it a contraction. My name is, on my names. Okay, this is a possibility to make it when it's a little more informal, when we're in an informal situation, in an informal context. Yeah, this is the idea. So now let's move to another context, to a different context. If you say, for example, I say to Miguel, hi Miguel, no, hi, I'm Diego. And you say, hi, I'm Miguel, nice to meet you. And the other response is, nice to meet you. Okay, so I put this in capital so we can have this idea clear. Nice to meet you, nice to meet you. Okay, that is the correct response. That is the correct response. Or good to meet you, good to meet you. We changed the pronunciation a little bit, and it's very, very important. Okay, so I say, hi, I'm Diego. Hi, I'm Miguel. Nice to meet you, Miguel. Nice to meet you, Diego. That's a possibility. Okay, so the emphasis changes. Good to meet you. Good to meet you. Okay. Now, what is this? What do you think this is? What situation can you see here? Is it similar a gathering? Is it informal or what? Or is it a little formal? What do you say? What do you see here? What do you think this situation is? Is it similar to the previous one? Is it different? So this is what we call a business interview. Maybe the girl wants to work in a new company and she goes through this interview. So they have to change the language. It's not similar to the informal one. In this case, we're going to use a little more formal language. Okay? For example, When it's a more formal context, we don't say hi, we don't say hello, or we don't say hey. In a more formal context, we say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. If it's very late, evening is a little difficult, but just in case. Okay. For example, good morning. I am Diego Peñarera, and I say my full name. Okay. Or you can say good afternoon. My name is Diego Peñarera. Or good morning. My name is Diego Peñarera. Good afternoon. I am Diego Peñarera. Okay. In your case, you can do the same. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Please, it's very important to mark the pronunciation. No good afternoon, okay? It's good afternoon, good evening, good morning, okay? Sometimes we make this mistake and we don't pronounce correctly. But when you introduce yourself, it's very important to pronounce correctly, appropriately, okay? So if we talk about the previous one, you say hi, hello, or hey, and you use contractions. In this situation, we don't use contractions. We try to omit the contractions. Yeah? Okay. Let's continue. Now, the responses are almost the same, are similar. Nice to meet you, good to meet you. But in this case, we can use also another one, which is how do you do? Right? So the first thing is nice to meet you, nice to meet you, good to meet you, good to meet you, and how do you do? How do you do? This is another way to respond, and it's a little more formal than the previous two ones. Okay? You can say, how do you do? How do you do? Exactly the same. The answer and the other response. Okay? So we say, good afternoon. My name is Diego Peñera. For example, I'm Kenneth Luis. Good to meet you. Good to meet you. How do you do? How do you do? Okay? That is the way to interact when you are introducing yourself. That is the first part of this. I don't know if is there any questions, if we are okay with this. Anything there? Is that correct? Do you have any questions, guys, here?
All is okay. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Let's continue then. All right. Thank you for your response. Very good. Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's see. Now, here we have this. What do you think this is? What do you call this when you go to a personal interview and you have to complete this information? What do you call this? Any ideas?
Uh, CV?
Yeah, okay, like a CV. Very good. This is called, we're going to call this like a form. We call this a form, okay? This is a form, so we complete our information here. Exactly. It's similar to a CV because we have to include our information. Correct. Very good. Thank you,
No.
Kenneth. Very good. That is the idea. So now, how do we ask and answer the questions is the point for today. Okay. So here we have some ideas, and I'm going to give you the ideas right now. Okay. So let's see. So this is just an idea to start. Let's see. The first one is, what's your name? That's very simple, right? The other one is, what's your last name?
Last night.
Mm-hmm. Next, we have, how do you spell it? That is a very common question they ask because in English, the spelling is different to the sound. The writing is different to the sound. So they need spelling most of the time. Okay? Now, next question we usually have here is, how old are you? Which is not how are you. It's different. Be careful. Let's be careful with that. Okay? Let's be very careful with that. How old are you? It refers to the years. Okay? Be very careful with this. Now, what other questions we have? For example, we have your phone number or your cell phone number. What's your phone number and what's your cell phone number? That's what they ask for. Okay. Another question they usually ask is when you talk about your occupation or your profession. What do you do? What's your occupation? Okay, these are the usual questions they ask. So we have to try to know what they can ask you when you introduce yourself. Okay. Another question that you can have here is your origin. It means where are you from? Your city, maybe your country if you're not from Peru, or you're in another country, they ask you where are you from. Another question that you can ask you is what's your address? What's your address? For example, your house, the avenue, the street, the block, etc. And another one, which didn't have any effect, is what's your email address? So these are some of the questions you may be asked in an interview when you introduce yourself. So they say, please tell me about yourself. What's your name? What's your last name? What do you do? Where are you from? All these questions are possibly asked when you are introducing yourself for the first time in an interview, especially in a job interview. Okay? So any questions so far? These are only
No,
the questions. In a moment, we're going to see the answers. Okay? So we can practice a little bit. Yeah? No questions? Ken, it's okay?
it's okay.
Perfect. Thank you. Let's continue. Here we go. Now, I'm going to show you some previous vocabulary so you have no problems at the moment of responding. Okay? First of all, I'm going to show you this. This symbol, we call it at. Okay? The name of this symbol is at. When you mention your email address, it's at.
Yeah.
This symbol here is underscore.
Or underline, no?
Or underline. Perfect. Most common is underscore, but also underline. Correct.
Okay.
Both are okay. Good. Now we have this one in the middle. We call it dash, or they call it hyphen also, just in case. Okay, the two are correct.
Okay.
Dash or hyphen. Now we have, for example, if you don't have a phone number you only have your cell phone number, you have to respond, I don't have a phone number. Okay, that is the appropriate way.
Okay. Phone number is the telephone of the
In your house. In your house.
Okay.
A landline, they call it.
Okay. Okay.
And here we have, just to review a little bit, a versus an. Sometimes we have some confusions. I made some examples here. We say a or a when the next sound is a consonant. I put sound because it's not necessarily the letter, but the sound. For example, a doctor, a mechanic. The sound is a d, the sound is an m, so it's a consonant sound. Okay? If I say a university, the sound is a j, it's not a u, so it's a university.
University.
Okay. The
The
sound
sound,
is
no?
a j. Exactly. Okay. It's always the sound. Okay, not the writing, but the sound. Okay.
Yes.
Now, when it's an, we have the next sound is a vowel. Okay, a vowel. So the first one is a consonant. The second is a vowel. Some people, I put this word on purpose. Most people say engineer. It's not engineer. It's engineer. Okay, an engineer. Engineer.
Engineer.
Perfect. That is the pronunciation. Okay, that's an engineer, and I can say an electrician.
Electrician.
So it's clear the idea a versus an?
Yes. Yes.
Great. Okay. Sorry. So far, any questions with this? Is that correct? Any questions here, sir?
No, it's okay.
Good. So now I put some templates for you to complete your information. So when they ask you for your name, the question is, what's your name? So what do you respond? You say, My name is, and you
Kenneth.
say your name again.
Yes.
For example, what's your last name?
Yes. My last name is Hidalgo.
Perfect. How do you spell it?
Yes. It is Kenneth.
Uh-huh. Very good. Now, how old are you?
Yes. I am 29 years old.
Perfect. That's correct. Great. That's the idea. Okay. Now we
Yes.
continue with this. What's your cell phone number? Or your phone
Yes.
number, sorry. You have a phone number.
Uh-huh. Yes. My phone number is 967767348.
Uh-huh.
Three
Wait,
four
wait,
zero
wait, wait, wait.
zero. No.
That's your phone number or your cell phone number? Uh-huh.
Cell phone number. Cell
Ah,
phone
you
number.
see?
Yes. Cell
Okay,
phone
be,
number.
be careful.
Yeah.
Do you have a phone number?
I don't have phone number.
Exactly. That is the answer. I don't have a phone number. My cell phone number is little by little.
Okay.
One by one.
Yeah.
Number little by little. Good. Now, when I say your occupation or your profession, the question is, what do you do? Okay? What do you do?
Okay. What do you do?
And the answer is, I am. Okay?
Yes.
So, what do you do, Kenneth?
I am engineering.
I am an engineer.
I am
Okay?
an engineer. Okay. Okay. I am an engineer.
Very good. Don't forget engineer. Engineer. Okay?
Engineer. Engineer.
The word is engineer. A lot of people say engineer. It's not engineer. Believe me, please. Believe me. Okay, it's engineer. Okay.
Engineer. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Now, when I say origin, I say where are you from, or I
Where
can
are you
say
from?
where do you live. We have these two possibilities. Okay.
Okay.
For example,
Where are
if
you
you're not
from and where do you live?
exactly, you can
Okay.
say both. Those questions are possible.
Okay.
For
Okay.
example, if you are not from Lima, where are you from? I am from Cusco, for example. And where do
Yeah.
you live? I live in Miraflores. I live in La Molina. I live in San Isidro. I live
Okay.
in Los
Where
Olivos,
do you
etc.
live? If for you want to know where is the district?
Your house or your district, exactly.
A
Where do you
specific place. Okay. Okay.
live? Exactly. Okay, that's
Okay.
it. So where are you from? You mentioned the city. Where do you live? You mentioned the district.
District. Okay.
hmm That is it. That is the idea. Now,
Yes.
your home address, you say Universitaria Avenue or whatever avenue or block or street, and you say the number 325. Put, for example,
Yes.
325.
Yes.
Okay? And the last one is what's your email address? That's another question that we have.
Mm-hmm.
What's your email address in this case, Kenneth? You
Uh,
remember?
it is Kenneth L. Hidalgo E at hotmail.com.
Very good. So no problems with the symbols. That's good.
Yes.
Okay. Pretty good. So that is pretty much all what we are checking in this part here. I'm going to review because you were not in the first part, so I'm going to try to let's try to do this again so we can review very fast because we have some
Okay.
more time to check. Okay, so when you introduce ourselves, so for example, in this case, what do you see here? What is this kind of event?
Uh, a social event. No.
Social event. What do you
Yes.
call this when it's formal or informal? Do you think it's formal or it's informal?
Uh, yes. It's formal and casual. No. It's
Mm-hmm.
same.
Yeah.
Both. Mhm.
Yeah. For example, is it for work or is it for pleasure? What do you say?
Maybe that is for work.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So in this situation, when it's not necessarily well, this is a little more informal. It's not like for work, but it's like for presenting new people. We call them a gathering. Okay. Gathering,
Ga-
not a meeting. It's different to a meeting. Meeting is more for academic
Or
purposes or for work. Okay.
okay. Okay. Okay.
In this case, it is a little bit more for meeting people, for interacting with new people. So they are introducing themselves to new people.
Social gathering.
Gathering, social gathering.
Social gathering.
So when it's not related to work or studies, we call it a little more informal. It's a gathering.
Yes. Okay.
So this is when we talk about this social gathering, we refer to we speak like a little more informal. So we say hi, we say hello, or hey,
Hey.
right? We have these ways to of speaking. We're not those.
Hey. Hey is like hello. Is
Yeah,
similar?
hi,
Okay.
hello,
Okay.
or hey. You can say that. Hey
Yes.
is very very American.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
so it's very common in North
Mm-hmm.
America. They say hey all the time.
Mm-hmm.
In British, it's a little more hello, and hi is kind of is more neutral. Okay.
Okay.
Now, when we say when it's a little more, when you want to speak fast, you say When you want to
Um.
sound slow, I am.
I am.
Yeah.
Okay.
hmm
Yes.
And your name. So I'm Kenneth, for
Okay.
example.
I'm Kenneth. I'm Kenneth. Yes.
hmm Or you can say I am, which when is a little. You want to sound a little slowly, so you want to
Yeah.
be well heard. Say I am. My name is. If you want to take your time, or my name's.
My
Do it
name's.
faster.
My name.
hmm
Okay.
So that is the first part that we were doing. Now the responses. For example, I say, "Hi, I'm Diego," and you tell me your
Nice
name.
to meet you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You say, "Nice to hi." Let's just for example, I say, "Hi, I'm Diego." You say, "Hi, I'm Kenneth," and you say,
Yes.
"Oh, nice to meet you," and the response is, "Nice to meet you."
You.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay.
That's why I put in capital letters. Uh-huh. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. Okay. So it goes up.
This is the correct pronunciation when you
Exactly.
finish this idea, no? This.
Exactly. So you
Okay.
say, "Hey, nice
Okay.
to meet you. Nice to meet you."
Okay.
In the past, they say, "Nice to meet you too." That's very very basic. So this is
Ah.
more real, more like
Yeah.
a real communication.
Ah. Okay. Okay. Okay.
The
Nice.
others
Nice to
from
meet you.
books, right? From basic books. Nice to meet you too.
Sí, yes.
So in this
I
case,
love this. Okay.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it's very, very common. So
Yes.
in this case, it's a little more like in real
Okay.
situation.
Okay. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Uh huh.
Okay.
That sounds good. That's the way. Or good to meet you. Good to meet you.
Is the same?
Yeah, nice to meet you or good to meet you. You can use both.
Ah. Okay.
Those are the alternatives. And also,
Ah. Okay. Okay.
nice, good to meet you. Good to meet you with the you
Good.
up.
Okay. Good to meet you.
Uh huh.
Okay.
Right? Is that correct?
Yes.
Good.
Yes. Correct. It's okay.
Perfect. Yeah. So now let's continue with this one. Now, how about this situation? What do you see here?
Interview job interview.
Exactly. Uh huh.
Yes.
This is a little more formal, right? So this is a business interview or a job interview, as you were saying. So
Okay.
it is a different situation. So we need another kind of language. You cannot say hi or hello. We need to use some other words to interact, right?
Okay.
So in this context, we a
It's
little
a
more
formal, no?
formal.
Yes. Okay.
We say good morning, and this is a very common mistake. Say people good afternoon. It's not good afternoon, but it's good afternoon, right?
Good afternoon. Good
With a
afternoon.
noon.
Okay.
Hey, good afternoon. Good afternoon. That's very common to many people say afternoon, but it's not exactly correct. We say good
Good
afternoon,
afternoon.
or you can say good evening, right?
Good evening.
Depending on the situation. Evening is a little difficult, but just in case, you never know. hmm So
Okay.
in these cases, when we talk about, we use no contraction. You don't say but you say I am, and you use your name and your last name. When
In
it's
formal context, I don't use contraction.
not very
I need
much,
to
not
use.
very much. You have to
Okay.
speak slowly so people understand you.
I am Kenneth.
But remember,
Okay.
it's an interview or it's a social meeting. You have to say your full name. My name
Okay.
is and
Kenneth
Kenneth
Hidalgo.
and your last name.
Okay. Kenneth Hidalgo in this case. Okay.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You have to say your name, your full name.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, I am Kenneth Hidalgo, or my name is Kenneth Hidalgo.
Okay. That's good.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Great. So now let's continue with the last part. We can say in these cases, nice to meet you. As again, good to meet you.
Yeah.
Or another
Yes.
one that it says, how do you do?
How do you do?
Uh huh. This is a very British form, but it's very common to hear it in interviews or in meetings. How do you do?
Okay.
How do you do? Okay. It's
Yes.
very common, and you can use it in informal contexts.
Okay, okay.
Is that
How
correct?
do you do? Yes, correct. It's good. Yes.
All right. So here we go. As we already did this part, it's about the form. When you go to a job, then they ask you for your personal information. We already checked this. Let's do it fast. So there's some people who didn't say it. So let's go cover with this fast because we have very limited time. So when we talk about what's your, so
Yes.
yeah, we have to run a little bit. So the first one is what's your name, right? The pronunciation, what's
Yes.
your name?
What's your name? Yes.
The second one, please, could you help me? What's your?
What's your last name?
Uh-huh.
How do you spell it?
This is how.
How?
How do you
How do
spell?
you how do you spell it?
How do you spell it? Then here is
How old are you?
perfect. How old are you? Please be careful with this one because some people confuse how are you with how old are you. It's a very,
Yes.
very common confusion.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's
Yes.
move here.
What's your phone or
Mhm.
what's your cell phone number?
That's correct.
What's your phone number or what's your cell phone number?
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes. What do you do or what's your occupation?
That's right.
Where are you from?
That's right.
What's your address?
And finally, and the last one about the email.
Email? Email
What's
address?
what's your
What's
email
your,
address?
what's your email address?
Very
Is
good.
address or is address?
You can see both. Both are correct. Address or address. The two are correct.
Address.
The two are correct pronunciations.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. So, how about the rest? Andre and Alberto, could you help us out with your Could you help us? Is that correct? Is everything okay for you? Guys, is that correct for you? Okay. Well, let's assume it's okay for now. Okay, just to check. Well, we checked already this, but just to finish, and we have like a, oops, we can reinforce this before we leave. So the add, underscore, or underline, as you mentioned, Kenneth, we have the
Yes.
dash, the phone. When you don't have a phone number, you say I don't have a phone number, which refers to the house. And the A versus and sound, we already mentioned that. The pronunciation of an engineer, which is very common.
Engineer.
And mechanic, because some people say mechanic, but it's not mechanic, it's mechanic. Okay? So those things to check. Just
what is the other form of dash?
Dash is a hyphen. Hyphen. I'm going to write it here in the chat.
Who write this?
Let me find the chat here. Okay. Hyphen. This one. Can you see it? It's in the chat.
Well,
Hyphen.
okay. Hyphen. Hyphen.
HYPHEN.
Hyphen. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
Hyphen. What is the common use? Dash.
Dash. More commonly is the dash.
American? Oh.
Yeah, it's American. Dash. Yeah.
Dash.
Okay. Good. All right, guys. So let's continue. So we will need your help to answer the questions, please. If you can help me, Andre and Alberto, to help Ken, because he already helped me out with this. So, what's the first question? What's your name? Who can answer that question?
I think I can. My name is Andre.
Very good. Okay. Last name? What's your last name, Andre?
My last name is Mateo.
Ken, could you ask the questions to Andre so we can interact a little more?
Spelling?
Yeah, spelling.
How do you spell in this?
My last name? Well, my last name, you can spell it like Mateo.
Good.
Yes.
The age, please. Ken, could you
Excuse me, I don't listen.
the age? How old? How old?
Okay. How old are you?
I am 22 years old.
Okay, pretty good, pretty good. Let's continue. Phone number, cell phone number. Go.
What is your phone number?
Oh, my cell phone number is 9971532.
How do you do?
Um,
What do you do?
What do you do exactly?
Yeah, what do you do? Well, I'm a how do you say this? Business manager.
Okay. Where are you from?
I'm from Lima, Peru.
Okay. Where do you live?
I live in somewhere.
Okay, pretty good.
Okay. What is your address?
My address it is amateo@camexperu.org.p. Is that correct? You?
Repeat it, please. Repeat it.
Yes. Well, Andre Mateo 96 at gmail.com.
Okay, good. That's good. That's pretty good. Okay, pretty good. All right. Any questions, Norberto? Are you okay? Any questions here? Any questions? No, no question, Alberto. I think that's pretty much it, right? So we're finishing for now. So thank you very much, and I hope to see you next class so we can continue interacting. All right?
Okay. Thanks to you. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Dio.
Thank you, guys. Have a good
Bye,
one.
Diego.
Have a good day. Have a good weekend. Enjoy your holiday.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye for now.
Goodbye.